All right, guys, we're back again. COVID Cabal, episode 171, and this is an important episode for you guys today for a lot of reasons. So, this is the last COVID Cabal, at least as far as I can ascertain with it. We're gonna test this out, but COVID Cabal is going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern on either Wednesday or Thursday in the week. What is up, Mr. Branford? What is up? And I do want to get some feedback from you guys on this. I'm hoping that, so if you notice with the description here, we are we're going to start to do things that are a little bit more like algo friendly. We're actually trying to grow COVID Cabal a little bit, and that's going to be part of that's going to be moving it to 5 p.m. Eastern. I know a lot of you guys, my Euro OGs here have been hanging on to the new time schedule since I've been in Europe. But that's the objective. And I will also say beyond that, I was hoping to have it ready for today's show, but I just got the microphone, just opening the microphone, right? And we should also have much higher production. I was trying to do it, and I'm like, I gotta just do this show. I gotta roll with it. We'll have the good setup, but this might start to become like a real show. Might start to become a real podcast. So those of you in Europe, if I know you guys probably have an issue with the 5 p.m. slot, because that's going to be like easy 10, 11 p.m. for you guys. So I don't know. That's what I'm doing. Bowtied Asset, my man. AG, what's going on? Romeo, you're going to have to give us the update here. Josh, what's up, my man? Poland is treating me great. Poland is treating me great. But Romeo's on the ground here in Ireland. I got to hear from him. I hope you tell us in the chat some of what's going on here. This show, so I'm just giving you guys, that's the breakdown. This may become much more legit. The setup's going to be more legit. So maybe this is going to be the end of an era, end of a new era, right? All right. Anyway, I'm going to put this up here at first. The worst thing you can possibly do in a deal is seem desperate to make it. That makes the other guy smell blood, and then you're dead. The best thing you can do is deal from strength. And leverage is the biggest strength you can have. Leverage is having something the other guy wants, or better yet, needs, or best of all, simply can't do without. Okay, this is a quote from The Art of the Deal. I read The Art of the Deal during Trump's first election campaign. You could do worse. You could do worse, my man. You could do worse. We're going to test it. We're going to test it out. We'll see how it does. This is the big thing, guys. I read Art of the Deal. A lot of the people who told me about Trump in The Art of the Deal, they obviously read the book. So how do they not understand deal making, especially with Trump? I got to tell you, when I saw this today, I was dying. I'm like, we're never going to have somebody like him ever again. We'll never have somebody like him ever again. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. He is a master at this kind of stuff. He can do things like I've been trolling people a lot. I've been trolling a lot because I'm really like I'm up to here. I'm up to here with the influencers. I'm up to here with the lack of accountability, the constant incorrect predictions. in moving goalposts, constant changing. I really like. I really have a huge level of contempt for these people. I think it's more honest to be an OnlyFans person. Like, it would be much better if these guys just like sold their butthole online than the kind of stuff that they're doing, because this stuff is really like, it's disgusting. It's humiliating. The lies, the nonstop lies, the ego, the vanity, it drives me crazy. America right now is having record fuel sales. This stuff was completely predictable. It was completely predictable. I mean, I predicted it. I could predict it. You don't think that Trump could predict it? If I could predict this, you don't think Trump could predict this? I mean, I'm going to show you guys this right now. Like, this stuff, it just, like, to me, it's insane. The order of operations on all these things was very, very obvious. I'm going to tell you guys, like, it's, and when I say it's very obvious, these are all the tankers that are coming to the United States. We are selling oil to the world now. The prices are going down, down as a result. Because look, there was plenty of ways. I mean, I knew some of this. I didn't know all of it. I knew about the Saudi reroute. The Saudis had a whole new pipeline going to the Red Sea. Again, what were the Iranians doing? The Iranians had the Houthis attacking. You know, between the Somalis and the Houthis, you had the Gulf of Aden. You had the choke point between the tip of Somalia and the tip of Yemen. That area was a major source of piracy and terrorism from the Houthis. Houthis were backed by Iran. Why was Iran backing them? What was their reason? Because they're trying to terrorize the entire world economy. When people talk about, oh, the United States killed these people, these innocent people. Okay. Without getting into the weeds about this stuff, because by all accounts, we have had very minimal civilian casualties in this war. I mean, I know that the big attack on the school, that was an Iranian misfire. But let's even just say that that wasn't the case. How many people has Iran, how many civilians has the Iranian government killed in the last few months? Well, it doesn't matter. They're Iranians. Okay, it doesn't matter. I agree with you. It doesn't matter. Your moral argument doesn't fucking matter. Your moral argument makes no fucking sense. Your moral argument is like trying to make something like, oh, well, you are trying to rescue these kids who are being raped and abused over and over again, and one of them got hurt. So therefore, you're hurting kids. Yeah, but the person I was trying to stop was raping and hurting kids. Doesn't matter. It was his family. You're not allowed to do that. Okay, so now the goalposts change. Everything just changes. It switches, right? It's shit libbery. That's what it is. It's shit lib talking points. I have enough experience, but this is the thing. Like, nobody's immune to shit libbery. No one's immune to it. Not in this day and age. I think a lot of people supported Trump because Trump was the victim. I think that's what it was. They supported Trump because Trump was the victim. They felt like they had broken out of the sort of standard woke paradigm. That's the thing. Wokeism is a leftist structure, but wokeism is not shit liberty on its own. It's just a sort of like victim hierarchy. But there are people on the right who are also oriented as victims, but the difference between them is that they have their own hierarchy, right? They have their own hierarchy. But it's the same sort of thing where they have to be, they might get offended by different stuff, but they have the exact same attitude that nothing is ever good enough. They have the exact same attitude. The second that Trump, this is what I find so interesting. A lot of these people supported Trump only when Trump was weak and ineffectual. And the second he becomes effectual, then they don't like him. I was in some like argument with that woman, like Leonarda Joni or whatever, mostly known for like making jokes about black people, whatever. Some of these things were funny. I don't care. Some of them are funny. I'm pointing out that these people are lying. They're going after Randy Fine. Okay? Randy Fine is a fat, disgusting Jew in Florida. I'm not somebody who's like loving Randy Fine. Randy Fine is not my favorite person in the world. Okay? But Randy Fine is pro-remigration. He is one of the biggest people in Congress who is pro-remigration. And so you know what the retard right does? You know what they do? The retard right decides to get Dan Bilzerian, who, by the way, I've read his book. I'm very aware of Dan Bilzerian. He had a book called The Setup. I read it because I'm obviously a dating relationship coach. So what's Dan Bilzerian talking about? What does he have understood? Well, what he has understood is that you create a setting that women want to be at, and then you can hook up with them. It's very astute. Dan understands you don't really need a lot of game if you can create a lifestyle that women want to be a part of. The setup, the context of that is he was creating setups that women would come to. Okay? Now, look, I'm not giving Dan any hate for going around and sleeping with women. I don't care about this. Don't care. I mean that on multiple levels. I don't care. It's not even impressive to me, because even by his own reasoning, the women don't give a shit about him. It's fame. I'm going to tell you this about the book, though. A good book has an arc, right? There's a story arc. And they're going in a certain direction. And then there's a realization. And then they have the realization, and then something's supposed to change, right? And that is the nature of a good story. So this was happening to Dan Bilzerian in his book, The Setup, where he was, I think he was losing something with a really great girl, and whatever. Point is that he was doing this, like, he was living this life of just like superficial hookups, and he was being challenged to change that, do something different. And he chose to keep doing it. That was the fucking, and I read this in the book. I'm like, man, this is fucking retarded. Like, I read it in the book. I'm like, this is fucking retarded. Like, it's not interesting. And he's like, so now I'm doing like this whole new thing, and it's going to be like Hugh Hefner kind of thing. And it failed. It failed in spite of the publicity of the book. It failed very, very quickly. He became all about smoking weed. So big surprise that all of a sudden this person, by the way, you never see this in the book. This person, his new identity becomes the Jews. Now look, I've said this time and time again, plenty of fucking issues with the Jews. Plenty of problems structurally. But the more the people who are obsessed with it come out, the more I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about this anymore. You know, I'm like the only uncut white guy above 30 in America. And yet I'm getting like fucking wailing wall post on my timeline. People are saying, "Oh, you're going to go fucking put your yarmulke on." But like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's like anti-Semitism is becoming more and more this like thing that retarded people are doing. And I don't know if this is like a 5D chess move by the Jews. Man, if it is, it's fucking working. It is working. Because Dan Blazarian, because he couldn't figure out how to actually not be a fucking degenerate. Now the Jews are the problem for everything in his life, of all people, trust fund kid, of all people. And he's running against Randy Fine. So here's the thing. Randy Fine, big, fat, disgusting Jew, okay? So funny to say that. He is. He's like the biggest person, one of the biggest people in Congress for remigration. So you're going after him. You're complaining about Trump I want to get this straight. These people, retard right, is complaining about Trump with amnesty, right? Trump supports amnesty. He doesn't. Net negative migration, first time in like 50 years in the country. Deportations ramping up. This woman, Leonardo Joni, what does she send? I'm pointing these stats out to her, and she sends me a picture of some Indian guy that Trump appointed who's big in AI. Now, I don't know, whatever. I guess that there's some sort of insinuation that he's connected to H-1Bs. Certainly a lot of these tech people are. I mean, being fair, certainly a lot of the Indian tech people are. But what the fuck is this supposed to be? Oh, so you're saying we're lying? Here's an Indian guy. What the fuck does that have to do with the argument? That doesn't do anything to do whatsoever with the argument. This Indian guy does not have anything to do with Trump's deportation status of migrants. It has nothing to do with it. This is what we are getting, though. This is the kind of nonsense. If the retard right actually cared about wanting to stop amnesty, you know who they would primary? They would primary Salazar, that Cuban bitch who just tried to sponsor the amnesty bill, which Trump didn't sponsor, by the way. He didn't sponsor it. He didn't promote it. It got panned across the board. You think Stephen Miller in the administration was going to be okay with that bill? But no, Dan Blazarian doesn't run against Salazar in the primary. He runs against Randy Fine, because the honest to God truth is that they don't give a fuck about America. Half of them are grifters, people who never supported MAGA, people who never supported Trump. They are finding, maybe woke went a little too far. So maybe they said, maybe we'll get on board. And then it's the perfect combination, right? Oh, you hurt somebody's feelings. I'm off. I'm done with this. I don't want your fucking faggot ass on my train anyway. Get the fuck off. Who are these people? Who are they really? What is their objective? What is the fruit of everything they're doing? Trump's not doing enough. That's why I'm voting for the Democrats. Trump's not doing enough. Things aren't going fast enough. Therefore, I'm going to vote for the people who are stopping him from being able to do enough. These people are stopping him from doing enough, so I'm going to vote for them to give them power. And that's how I'm America first. You fucking retarded people. Seriously, they are fucking retarded. What else are you supposed to say? What else are you supposed to say about this? Let's say this. Trump is closing the strait. Okay? Trump is now closing the strait. We've had multiple destroyers go through the strait. This is how it's kind of broken down last 24, 48 hours is we said, okay, Iran, you're supposed to open the strait. That's part of the deal. We can't find our mines. Okay, we're going to start doing mine clearing. Immediately, you had people saying, Iran rejects this, and Iran is rejecting America being able to clear the mines. And, you know, America immediately turned around their ships after Iran said this. This stuff is all fucking slop. It didn't happen. You can actually see the position of these American ships going through the straits. It does not stop these people from fucking lying all the time. And man, if you guys are falling for this stuff, please, do you understand how many? I want people to understand this, because I'm hearing things like America's fleet had to turn around because Iran was, you know, destroying them, and you know, the amount of casualties that America suffered is catastrophic. We've lost so many. Their bases are in ruins. Like, do you guys understand? Does anybody on X understand that we have like 100,000 people deployed in the Persian Gulf? Does anybody understand that? Do you think for a second, if things were catastrophic at US bases, that this wouldn't be coming out everywhere? Everywhere across America. I know people who are deployed in the Middle East, people who are in our operations, okay? They don't have any reason to lie to me. This stuff is not happening. I'm not claiming they didn't have hits on bases, but what kind of catastrophic damage are you talking about? We have brought 10% of the US military to bear in the Persian Gulf. 10%. I'm really like at a loss. Like we don't have the ability. We have a free press. And I'm not saying that press doesn't have agendas and bias, but we fundamentally have a free press. Do you think for a second that they wouldn't be running with information domestically if it was happening? MSNBC, you don't think so? No, you're seeing it on social media. I saw one thing today. Oh, Israel's refineries are destroyed. Iran has destroyed Israel's refineries. Iran has destroyed it. They're destroying everything. And then you see it, and it's a fucking video from 2015 in Turkey. Do you guys, not to be racist, but do you understand that it's like, putting aside even just basic psyop stuff, that this is what they do? This is a very cultural thing to aggrandize yourself in everything that you're doing. Have you seen Iran's retarded anime videos? Do you actually not think for a second that they are not going to be propagating? Like, so here's the thing. So now we have the situation where Iran, unsurprisingly, refuses to agree to the nuclear demands. Well, isn't that unsurprising? Because Britain and France got involved with this stuff. And is it any different than Ukraine? Yeah, we want to have peace talks. We want to have peace talks. We're gonna agree on a peace deal. No. You have to give us back Crimea. Yeah. We'll have peace once you give us back Crimea and you pay us $2 trillion. Russia, ha! You get that? I'm Zelensky. I'm Zelensky. You pay us $2 trillion and give us back Crimea. You know what? You got to give us Krasnodar too. You got to give us everything. And once you give us that, then we can have peace. The fuck is like, it's the same thing in Iran. Yeah, we want to have peace, but no, we're not giving up nuclear weapons. We have to be able to have nuclear weapons. Okay, so now Trump is closing the strait. Trump is closing the strait. But here's the thing: I want you to understand, it's the same playbook. I've had people ask me, like, how do you know that Iran's operating in bad faith? First off, do you know how easy it is? You don't have to develop. You don't have to enrich uranium to 90+% if you want a civilian nuclear program. Which, by the way, why would a country that has, so much oil revenue even really need that to begin with? Why is Trump closing the strait after demanding it be opened? He's doing it because for two reasons. First off, it changes the framing. So if Iran's only real negotiating tool is closing the strait, but then Trump claims it as his own, saying, this is it. The negotiations aren't going the way we want. We're closing the strait. Well, now Iran does it like it screws up their positioning in terms of the leverage that they have. That's why I used this quote at the beginning about Trump with leverage. Trump is reframing what control of the strait means, because everybody assumed, I apologize because I have so many little axes to grind today, but the point here is that the closing of the strait was not that harmful. That's why I was pointing out these stats, okay? Because 80% of what was usually going through the strait has been replaced or rerouted anyway, okay? And then we have the next portion of this, which is that the US has tons and tons of excess supply. So all the world is coming to the United States to get the rest of it. So now what Trump is saying is that, okay, Iran won't negotiate in good faith, so we're closing the strait. Now, here's the thing. So it's a reframing, but of course it can't just be a reframing. It can't just, in order to reframe it, it has to be based on something legitimate. And this is the thing that's legitimate. What's legitimate is that there were countries, China, France, United Kingdom, for instance, who were getting oil from Iran through the strait. Iran closed the strait to everybody except for countries that made these deals. UK and France backstabbed the United States. NATO members backstabbed the United States, right? Now Trump is requiring that any of those tankers, the US Navy will block those tankers from those countries from coming through unless they pay a tax. This is the next escalation from what Trump originally said, which was that China, UK, France, if they want to have the strait open, they should send their own ships to do it. UK, of course, can't. China doesn't want to. France, similar position. So that's the layer to it. Now we are saying you're not going to be able to get Iran's oil and leave if you're not going to help open the strait in general. We are closing the strait until you help open the strait for everybody. That's basically the play here. You make Iran come to the table or you're not getting anything. Now, why is it significant? Because France and the UK are the predominant countries that are keeping, or that have been telling Iran to keep it open, just like with Ukraine. Today, elections in Hungary. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, okay? I mean, Europe's gearing up to go to war. You're going to have to go to war. Will they be able to pull it off? Good question. There's some other things here I want to bring up. What were we talking about before? We were talking about the banking connections between Iran and the City of London. Well, here you go. Once again, Lloyds Bank is mired in scandal along with Santander Bank. Iran used UK bank accounts to evade Western sanctions. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. There's no way UK intelligence services, MI5, MI6, were unaware of these banks allowing the Iranian regime to break the US-led sanctions. This explains why President Trump is so annoyed with Starmer. The UK government has stabbed the US in the bank. Will bank executives be arrested? Of course. Look, Lloyd's is in the city of London with MI5 and MI6. UK has an embassy in Iran. Let's go into more detail here. Two of the UK's biggest banks, Santander UK and Lloyds, provided accounts to British companies with links to Iran's intelligence services. Iran evaded Western sanctions by using accounts at two US banks to move money around the world in an extensive sanctions evasion scheme, according to the Financial Times. Lloyds Banking Group and Santander UK provided accounts to front companies that were secretly owned by a sanctioned and state-controlled Iranian petrochemical company. The news outlet said, citing documents, the petrochemical company, commercial company's British subsidiary, PCC UK, is still operating near Buckingham Palace. Both companies have been under U.S. sanctions since 2018, meaning that Western banks are blocked from doing business with them. Despite not being able to find proof, I simply do not believe that this escaped all of British intelligence and all the British government. Ha ha ha. Of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. You see the play now. Someone had a great quote online where like fucking retard level was it's about Israel, and then the next level was I forget what the next level was, and then it was about China, and then the high super giga brain level was it's about I remember now. Low levels, it's about Israel. Next level is about nukes. Next level is about China. The giga brain level is about the United Kingdom, right? It's about the city of London. We are winning, guys. We are winning this war. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let them tell you otherwise, okay? I'm gonna talk briefly about what I've been wrong about recently and what I see coming next down the line, okay? So I expected that there would be raids by this point. And I think that I'm definitely going to be wrong on that because I thought the latest that was going to happen was the spring. And I don't think that that's the case anymore. But the reason it's not the case is not because of being directionally correct. Okay? Not that I'm trying to carry water for myself. I'm doing this to be on the record that I was wrong that there was going to be these mass arrests between February and April. I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because it's obvious that it made more sense to the administration to go after Iran first. We are cutting off all of their international bases where they can affect anything domestically. It is a much more complex siege than I understood. The biggest enemy right now is really not even the left. The left is dangerous, but the retard right is a much bigger threat to victory than the left. But without a question, it definitely is. I know so many people in real life who are hardcore MAGA who are getting fucked up over this stuff. They really are. They're getting fucked up over it. And, you know, I gotta say, I get the fact that I understand. I understand that this is if you're not thinking in terms that I'm thinking of, if you're not trying to figure these things out, which by the way, why aren't you? Why are you at this point of supporting Trump after all this time? Why are you placing more trust in an influencer than you are in Trump? Do you want to know why I am more correct? It's not because I am smarter. A lot of these influencers are actually, I'm not going to accept the idea that they're not smart people. Some of them are fucking stupid, but some of them are very smart. Actually, very smart, deviously so, very smart. It's not that I'm smarter than these people, and it's definitely not that I'm as smart as Trump or his administration. It's that when I see this administration do something, I ask myself, why would they be doing it? I don't think they are wrong for doing it. I think, why would they be doing it? And I have to think about why they would be doing it. And then I can see, oh, this is why they'd be doing it. I don't anticipate half of the things at least that they do. But they do it in 90% of the time. It makes a lot of sense. So it's ego. It's either ego or it's agenda. That's the only explanation. It's the same reason when I talked about like the Bible stuff, right? I always look to interpret the Bible from a way that makes the Bible make the most sense based on how I have seen reality play out. So when people tell me that's not what the Bible means, I'm like, well, if that's not what the Bible means, then this verse is inapplicable in reality, which makes it stupid. So I'm going to take my way of analyzing where I interpret it in a way that's charitable. I always am charitable to Trump. I'm not saying he doesn't make mistakes sometimes, but I'm always charitable to him. I think in the past, I thought he was all powerful. She's not, but absolutely has the advantage here. And I'm struggling to see. I don't know what these influencers are talking about, to be honest. I don't know what these people are fucking talking about. We are winning, and do not let anybody tell you that we are not winning. We are winning very, very big right now. We are winning bigger than I have ever seen us win. And I want to tell you something that people don't tell you when it comes to the Iran war. Every single barrel of oil around the world has a 5 to 10% price premium on it because of Iran. Do you understand what that means? We're going to talk about killing kids. Medicine requires energy. Every single thing around the world requires energy. And Iran has been putting a 10% tax on it for years, decades. So every single thing that you buy, not just your car, everything has a premium on it because of fucking Iran. And guess who made them profit off of that? Britain. Because Britain financialized it. British banks, British insuring, they were the ones that profited off of the chaos that Iran was putting through the entire world. And if you don't understand that, that's okay. If you refuse to understand that, fuck off. Learn on the job. You want to talk about this matter, be a little bit more curious and find some things out. A lot of these are not things that I knew 3 months ago. But again, why is Trump doing this? Why do they do this? I adopt a curious attitude. The answers present themselves. Then you can start to piece it together. Oh, I didn't even realize they were making money off this. Oh, I didn't even realize shipping insurance has all these built-in premiums because of Iran. Yeah. Maybe think about things instead of just saying fucking Jews over and over again. I swear to God. I don't know where we're going here. And when I say I don't know where we're going here, we need to have faith in Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely. J6 community in particular, J6 community is like super traumatized. And, I think a lot of J6ers have an understandable, sentiment that we've been left behind. I think most of us have gratitude for being pardoned, but we haven't gotten compensation. Um, there's a lot of things, we could have been honored more. My personal perspective on this is that trying to be charitable, of course. First off, there are factions in the administration that don't care about J6ers at all. But the bigger thing, and I tell people, is like, we're never going to get any compensation until 2020 is litigated. And that's coming. I actually think Iran is the gateway to it. Obama gave Iran $160 billion before he left office. I think that there's a connection between Iran's nuclear program and Uranium One. There are so many layers to these things, these connections, right? We are going to get to this, but you can't deal with January 6th until you deal with 2020. You just can't do it. But a lot of J6ers have fallen for, at least some of the more vocal ones, have fallen for all these psyops. Look, I don't care what people say about me. We're only in a position, if I lost $1 million and I spent a year in prison, whatever. I mean that, whatever. Trump and what Trump is doing for the world is more important than my life. I didn't get involved in this stuff to begin with if I felt like I was the central player. I'm just grateful to be a part of it. Whatever way I can serve, be a part of it. And nobody forced me to go into. I may have been tricked, but Trump himself did not make me do anything. So I'm not going to put anything on Trump. Okay? It's just how I am. People can say what they want to say. This is true. And you know what? I think that that's frankly one of the best things about it is that a lot of us are the everyman. But I understand your point, which is that a lot of them don't understand these things. But I will also say at the same time, most of them I think really do get it. Most of them really do, like, they have the instinctual correctness. You know what I mean? The people who are actually worse on this are people who are less visceral, or the J6ers who are highly, highly traumatized. And you can see how they behave about other things. But look, to close this up, last couple minutes here. To close this up without being, look at this. I am pleased to announce that today my administration officially filed the presentation and plans to the highly respected Commission of Fine Arts for what will be the greatest and most beautiful triumphal arch anywhere in the world. What is this a triumph over? He never specified that, did he? I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't know what's going to happen to the American Republic. I don't know what's going to happen to the American Republic. Judges are very, very bad right now. Very, very bad. And I will be surprised if SCOTUS rules positively on birthright citizenship. Judicial system is cooked. Legislative branch looks cooked. We have Trump commanding the military. By the way, side note, do you happen to think, as part of the strategy, do you not think for a second, because I've watched this play out in real time, you guys realize that in the war on terror, you guys realize that Iran was responsible for most of the deaths in Iraq? It was Iranian militias, it was Iranian weaponry killing American soldiers, that we were not allowed to win those wars because of those administrations, those deep state administrations. So to have us go in there and kick fucking ass against Iran, do you understand that the military has rallied behind Trump big time? The veterans, the people who are still in the service, who fought those wars, they're feeling for the first time in a long time that they're allowed to win. The esprit de corps is going up big time. Okay? Why is that important? If you're going to change things in the country, military is very important doing it. I do think eventually this will go domestic. Maybe it'll be the midterms. Maybe this is all big setup for their attempt to steal the midterms. And that's going to be, I think it's interesting. Maybe that's what the Q post, maybe the Q post 9 years, a 9-year differential. I don't know. Not going to spur out on that kind of stuff, but the military is more behind Trump than ever. I've seen people who were 3 months ago, military on Twitter, very skeptical. Now they're like all about him because we're winning, we're kicking ass. Fighters want to fight. Trump doesn't call them soldiers anymore. They are called war fighters. This is the Department of War, not the Department of Defense. Anyway, guys, wherever this goes, ride the waves. I'll tell you that. We're going to talk on Thursday. We'll see what comes. We'll see what comes. But yeah, this stuff is retarded. I mean, remove Trump, 25th Amendment Trump. I don't give a fuck about these people. These people are so fucking stupid. They don't deserve to even be mentioned because they're so fucking stupid. You have Robert, I'm going to mention one of them, because Robert Barnes, big fat tub of lard sitting there. How do we get him 25th Amendment? I can't do it. I can't do it. The fuck is wrong with these people? Anyway, it's going to be good, guys. I love you. And I think Thursday we'll do the next COVID Cabal. New time. We're going to try it out. See what happens. All right. Love you all. Take care.